Welcome back to the 6-foot tall wizard tower build. This is the moon pool part 1. And as always, we start by cutting our tube in half, adding a hinge and a magnet. Next, I'm going to use the tube to trace out the shape of the floors. And this first one here is going to be for our moon pool. So I'm going to cut a secondary hole. And using a piece of recycled plastic, I just glue that, and this is going to be where our resin will be so that we can see through to the bottom. And I didn't think that this was thick enough, so I added another layer. I will glue that and a bottom floor to the tube, this bottom floor leaving space for these fairy lights. I thought it'd be nice to have some lights shine through from the bottom of the pool. And then I had to cut out an entrance, and also I made a little moon-shaped window. And this is where we end part 1. Welcome back to the 6-foot tall wizard tower build. This is the moon pool part 2. And today we are going to construct the walls of the moon pool cavern. First, I'm just adding some pieces of foam to help hide the lights and the wires. And then for texturing, I'm just using this neat trick of using the side of the hot glue gun to melt the foam a little bit. And to texture the floor, I'm going to use my usual technique with some aluminum foil. Now we need to start adding to the walls of the cavern. I'm just adding various sized strips of foam. And then I use the same technique and melt it with the hot glue gun. And I also did the same for the entrance side of the cavern. Moving on, I'm going to show you how to make some stalagmites and stalactites out of some hot glue. These guys here, this eggnog elemental and this evil snowman, I made for a Christmas one-shot. They're made out of hot glue. They turned out really well, so I'm going to show you what to do. I just have a glass container, my hot glue gun, and some water. You can't see very well, but I'm just slowly building up the glue as I pour water in, and the water will automatically set the glue. It's a cool way to build shapes. And this is what they look like when they are cool. So I'm just going to glue some of these down to the ceilings and the floors of the cavern. And finally, I'm just going to set all this foam with some joint compound mixed with some Mod Podge. Then we need to wait quite a few hours for this to dry, and then we can move on to painting. See you in the next video. Welcome back to the 6-foot tall wizard tower build. This is the moon pool part 3. And today we are going to paint the cavern and then add our resin into the moon pool. Now this is going to be a longer video. Is this what you guys prefer, or do you like the 1-minute videos? Let me know. And the colors that I'm going to use for the cavern are a couple different shades of blue, brown, and some green. And this is just my DIY wet palette. It's a piece of wet paper towel and some parchment paper. Here I mixed a couple of the colors. This is the palette I'm going to use. Starting with the moon pool, I'm going to go in and use my blue colors that I mixed, starting with the darkest shade at the bottom, going up to the lightest at the top. And then once I have that painted on, I'm using a dry brush to blend the colors. Then I mixed my lightest blue shade with the brown for a nice light brown color to paint around the pool. And then I'm going in with just straight brown and heavily dry brushing that on to the rest of the cavern. And this is what it looks like after that first layer of paint. Next, I'm going to go in with some green. Then I'm going to highlight some of the cavern with the light blue shade from the reflection off the water. Then I'm just going in with this light brown and highlighting everything. And once that is completely dry, I'm going to go in with my homemade brown wash. This will help to blend the colors a bit better together, and it will make all of the stone pop. And after that is dried, we are going to go in with one last dry brush of a light gray color. And this is what it looks like in natural light. Okay, and now it is time for resin. This is just some leftover epoxy resin that I had lying around. It is starting to yellow, but that's okay. We're going to add some acrylic paint to turn it blue. And if there's no drips, then we sealed this piece properly. So far, it's looking good. There were quite a few bubbles, so I just used a straw to add some air, and that worked quite well. It probably would have set on its own, but I just wanted to make sure. And now we let this sit and cure for about a day. Welcome back to the 6-foot tall wizard tower build. This is the moon pool part 4. And today we are starting off by mixing some clear paint with some green flocking, and this is going to act as some moss inside our cavern. And I'm going to apply this generously everywhere on the inside. And once this dries, it looks really good. This cavern is looking very realistic. I love how this is turning out. And this is what it looks like in natural light. Ignore those colorful tufts in the bottom. I didn't like how they looked with the piece, so I actually removed them. Okay, and now it's time to start on the outside. I had a creative block for the last couple days. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and then I finally figured it out. I'm going to take a bunch of scrap foam that I had lying around, and then I'm going to glue it to the outside. I know this looks weird, but trust the process. Once I have all of the outside covered with foam, I'm going to go in with my handheld hot wire cutter, and I'm going to use that to start to shape the foam. This handheld cutter is quite hot, so it burns the foam a lot more than my Proxon. So I make sure to wear protection and then open windows and have a fan running to keep my room well ventilated. Yeah, you can see in the video that there's so much smoke. So once I have cut off enough foam, I'm gonna go in and actually start ripping it with my fingers. What this does is it helps to give it more of a natural rocky texture. And then after this, I'm going to go over everything with my aluminum foil ball. This will help to further give it some more stone texture. But we're not done yet. We have one more step. There are so many gaps in this piece, we need to seal them. So I'm just using my usual mixture of joint compound and glue. And now we must wait for that to dry before we can start to paint. See you next time. Welcome back to the moon pool final reveal. And I hope to see you all in the next section series. It will be a Studio Ghibli style bathhouse.